Okay, it's time to do some Mongolian stuff. So, where we are in the notes, we just dealt with Song China right here, Mongolians. And if we look at the map, okay, so we were here. Ooh, let me go smaller. We were here with China, yeah? Well, Mongolians lived up there in that area. Okay, up in this area. And they are called pastoralists. Okay. A pastoralist, they're nomadic, but basically they're rancher type people. Like they are nomadic and they do follow animals, but they follow their animals. Like their animals have freedom and roam around and stuff, and they follow their animals. It's not like nomads who are just following random animals to hunt. Okay. This is just a little picture of some Mongolian pastoralists. Okay. So if they roam around, we don't have we have civilization. I don't want to say that we don't have civilization. We don't have, what's the word? Cities that don't move. Okay. What we have are tent civilizations. In fact, they live in these really cool tents called yurts. I didn't do any pictures, but they're really cool. But that's beside the point. So anyway, they do roam around. All right. They roam around this whole area up here. Where's my mouse? There it is, all in here. Just roam, roam, roam. And what we have at this point is a whole bunch of different Mongolian clans. A clan is basically a tribe, just smaller and typically family oriented, like your second cousins and whatever are part of your clan. So there's a whole bunch of clans. There's not one centralized government until we get to this guy. His name is really cool. It's Temujin. Little Temujin. There's a lot of like differing stories about Temujin. Some documents say, and I think I put it in your notes. Some documents say that little Temujin watched his father murdered. Some documents say that his father was poisoned. There's all these different documents. Did I not put his name in here for y'all? I did. Look right here. Little Temujin. Yeah? Well, regardless of what happened, dad dies somewhat tragically. Who knows if he actually like saw his death or if his father was poisoned and he didn't see it. Who knows? But regardless, Temujin, as a young boy, I don't know how old he was, teenager-ish, saw his father. No, Temujin lost his father. Let's leave it at that. Well, what happens next is also a little bit shady. Not shady like, ugh, but shady like we don't know exactly details. See, part of the problem is there's no writing here. Like they didn't write stuff down. They didn't write histories down. You should write stuff down. Just a little side note. But anyway, the Mongolians didn't write like their history and stuff. So there's a little bit of an issue with knowing exactly what happened. But whatever happened, whether his father, the chieftain of their particular little clan, was poisoned or like throat slit in front of Temujin, we don't really know. But what we do know is dad dies and Temujin and mom are left. Okay. Well, they get kicked out of their clan. Okay. So they are taken in by another clan, and Temujin later decides, I want to rule stuff. So he becomes the chieftain of his new clan. Okay. And he gets a title, Ghengis Khan. Okay, listen, it's not Ghengis. Ghengis. Yes, Ghengis Khan. Khan means king. Ghengis means overall. Oh, I put it on here. Universal. All right, I'm about to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. One thing I do want to note, I don't remember how you spell it. Something like this. Maybe like this. On some past AP tests, my kids were given this name. Paste. Yeah, my kids were given this name. Okay. Jeez, man, I can't even type. Oh my gosh. Okay, my kids were given this name. Right here. That is Genghis Khan. Look. Chinggis, Ghengis. And I had kids like on their AP responses, their test responses, writing, well, there was this other guy named Genghis Khan, and they were writing about Genghis Khan, not realizing this is the same guy. So it's not a bad idea to put this in parentheses somewhere in your notes. I wouldn't put it right there. That's weird. But like down here, Chin, Chinggis, Ghengis, it's the same guy. It's Temujin. Okay. So that being said, just a little side note. That being said, Genghis Khan becomes the chieftain of his clan, right? And he decides he wants to start taking over stuff because what's the name of the game? Empire building. So he starts going around taking over and uniting the clans around him. Oh, that's not what I want at all. There we go. He's a military beast, you guys. He has hundreds of wives, you guys. He murders entire villages. He's horrified. And look at him in old age. Does he look like a military beast? Isn't that crazy? Like from the Western point of view, he totally doesn't. But how accurate this painting is, who knows? But this is the Genghis Khan, like famous painting that we have. When he dies, he leaves this. Let me show you. Okay. This is a modern map, okay, but this right here is Mongolia today. All right. When Genghis Khan was going around uniting clans and like taking over people and killing entire cities and all kinds of good stuff, he's uniting this area here, okay, and this. And like none of these borders existed back then. I mean, even the border of China, no. All right. So they're going around uniting and destroying and conquering all this area here. He'll come over here and then he dies. All right. When he dies, well, this empire gets separated. Oh, sheesh. Here we go. Into khanates. Just like you had with the word caliphate, you should automatically, when you see that word khanate, boom, it's Mongolian. Caliphate, boom, it's Muslim. Sultanate, boom, it's Muslim. Khanate, boom, Mongolian. You should automatically do that because you're going to see khanates a couple more times this year. Okay. One down here actually, which is kind of weird. It feels like it's one over here. It's kind of weird that all of a sudden you have like this Mongolian kingdom down here. But look, guys, look what Genghis Khan did. Now, in all honesty, he didn't do this entire thing because Kublai Khan, who's his like, I'd have to look it up. I don't remember, like great nephew, or I don't think it's a direct line grandson. I think it's like a great nephew or something, but I don't remember. But he'll end up taking over this China. But that's pretty impressive. If we go back and look at the other one, I'll show you these pictures in a minute. I mean, that's huge, y'all. Gigantinormous. But this all kind of gets divided into four sections, four khanates when he dies. Okay, so you have over here the Golden Horde. Okay, I just like that name. And then you have two other khanates here that don't really matter. And then you have the Great Khanate, the big one. Yeah. Kublai Khan is going to get the Great Khanate. And what they do is like some of his heirs to the throne take these. All right. Well, Kublai Khan gets the Great Khanate, the biggest one. All right. I do want you to notice borders before we move on. The Mongolians go into Dar al Islam. That's the Middle East right there. North Africa, the Middle East. This is like Persia, Pakistan. All right. So, oh, I'm sorry, Iran, Persia, Iran, Pakistan. All right. So it does go into Dar al Islam. That matters because we're going to have another empire here. They call themselves the Mughal dynasty. Mongol, Mughal. You think they have something to do with each other? They do. And it's always weird to kids every year. They're like, what? How do Mongolians get down here? They're not just up here. They conquered this. Now, what you do need to understand with this empire is it is loosely held together. It's not like they have hardcore control. All right. It's very loosely held together. Like Bob over here has no clue what Joe over here is doing. So, I mean, it's a loose empire. But I will say, this right here, biggest continuous, hi, babies. My babies came to see us. Biggest continuous land empire in history. And we're looking at the 1200s. Interesting. So, that being said, Genghis Khan dies, right? And he had so many wives and so many girlfriends. I don't even remember the number, but there is a ridiculous number of people today that can like trace their heritage back to Genghis Khan. Isn't that crazy? And his funeral was a little bit of a interesting thing. His tomb, we have no idea where it is. None. Supposedly, story says, now who knows how true it is, but story says that he had like his tomb built and stuff, and then he had the people killed so that nobody would know where his tomb was. Okay, there's a lot of holes with that story, I know, but he's such a big deal for this area. Look at this statue, this equestrian horse statue. This is a statue of Genghis Khan. Okay, do you see the people? This thing is huge. I love this statue. I just think it's so cool. Look, you can like go up into the building, which is like a museum and stuff, and you can go up. You can go up, and then you come out right here, which is kind of interesting. Look, and you can like stand right next to Genghis Khan. Isn't that cool? I can't remember. Wait, what happened? What's happening? Okay, well, never mind. Oh, okay. Here we go. I was gonna look up roughly how many people are related to Genghis Khan. Look, it came up. Oh my gosh. That's how many women he had. Now, some of it was wives, some of it was rapes, some of it was like tribute. Yes, women could be tribute. And some of it was in the spoils of war. You destroy a city, you kill all the men, you take the women. But I mean, it's terrible and it's awful, but it's war. It's just the way it was. So anyway, it's crazy. Like if you think about how many people in Asia have their like heritage that can be traced back to him, it's crazy. And it's crazy that he set up this empire. Now again, like it's not just him, like it's his son and whoever's following him that are like, adding land to the Golden Horde over here, and they're coming down and stuff. And then, like I said, Kublai Khan comes in and takes over northern China, which had always kind of been the goal of the Mongolians. That's what they wanted. In fact, these are totally out of order, and I don't know why, but look at this. This is one of the earliest Great Wall of China that was built. It's an earthen wall. It's pretty big. I mean, if you notice right here, there's a guy. It's hard to see him, but do you see him right there? There's his head. There's a guy. So, I mean, it is pretty big, but it is an earthen wall. And the Chinese were trying to keep the Mongolians out since, like, oh shoot, I don't remember. Qin Shi Huangdi. Man, I should have looked over this stuff before I did this video. Qin Shi, I don't remember the dates. 259 BC. Okay, we're in 1200 AD. So 1,000 years. So for like 1,000 years, they've been trying to keep the Mongolians out. All right, and this was like the first Great Wall of China. It didn't work real well. I mean, it did okay, I guess, since it took 1,000 years to get there. Here's a little bit of a better one that was built a little bit later. I don't know the dates of this one, but this one was built a little bit later. Still not great, all right, because they got through, but it's not the Great Wall that you're used to. We'll get to that, all right? Okay. Oh, that's the wrong picture. That's Genghis Khan. Okay. All right. Look, I forgot they're out of order. That is not Genghis Khan. Always have kids who swear to me that I'm showing them the same picture. I'm not showing you the same picture. Look. Oh, shoot. Look. Here is Genghis Khan. Okay. Here is Kublai Khan. Do you see a difference? Now they're in the same family, so they should resemble each other. But kids are always like, Miss, you just showed us literally the same picture. No, I didn't. This is Kublai Khan. All right. Again, Khan means king. Yeah. And he has the Great Khanate. He has control of the Great Khanate. The Great Khanate is the biggest one. The biggest one right here. He has all this purple land. Okay. This is the part of China in his area. This is the Great Khanate. Okay, there's kind of a weird thing that happens when Kublai Khan takes over. Kublai Khan loves Chinese culture. Absolutely loves Chinese culture. Absolutely hates the Chinese. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom that. I love European culture. I love German culture. How do you love a culture and hate the people? I can't understand loving European and German culture, but hating the people. But that was where Kublai Khan was at. It is a very kind of like racist situation against the Chinese, but it's so weird because it's only against the Chinese. Kublai Khan is actually very forward thinking in allowing so many foreigners to actually be part of his government, but not Chinese. Chinese, very intolerant, very anti, very like, In fact, Kublai Khan was all for like genocide, kill them all. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But he loves Chinese culture. So what's weird is he doesn't really call this the Grand Khanate like a Mongolian. He adopts Chinese culture. He looks very Chinese here. Oh, where the heck is that picture? He looks very Chinese here. Okay. And he even names his dynasty, not the Khanate, the Yuan dynasty. Yuan. I've heard people say, what have I heard people say? Yuan. I think that's what I've heard some people say in videos before. I don't know, man. I learned it yuan. I don't know. But so anyway, he has this dynasty called the Yuan dynasty. Okay, this is a little bit of a hiccup in China's history because China has always had Chinese kings and rulers and all that good stuff, right? Remember Confucianism? Remember the civil service test? Okay. The civil service exam, which people had to take to actually make sure that they could be part of the bureaucracy of the Chinese government. Yeah, Kublai Khan's like, get rid of that. I don't need that. I can do it myself. So he does get rid of the Confucian idea of the civil service exam, but he does still have a bureaucracy. Yes, he's the king. Yes, he's an emperor, but he does still have a bureaucracy and he doesn't rule completely all by himself. He has people there helping him carrying things out. Okay. Probably the most famous is someone you've all heard of, Marco Polo. Please, I'm not dissing it. It was okay. Just don't watch the Netflix show and think it's accurate. It was okay, but it's not accurate. So just please. That being said, am I going in order? Sometimes I just get like really excited and I just go and I just talk. See, I haven't even looked at the notes and who knows how long. Okay, I'm exactly on target. Yes. So he hires all these foreigners to be like parts of or like in charge of his government. And again, the most famous probably this man, Marco Polo. Marco Polo is from Italy. Okay, think about this for a second. Do I have a map? No. Here's another picture of Marco Polo. Let me pull up a map real fast so that you can see this, because this is freaking weird, man. Okay, look. Okay, so Marco Polo is from Venice, right here. He's from Italy. Yeah? The Mongolians have taken over China. Okay? Follow me here. This is weird. So in China, we have a Mongolian king and an Italian diplomat who works for the Mongolian king. Is that weird? Do we typically have like just random foreigners in charge of our government? I don't even I don't even know. You have to be like, don't you have to be like a resident of America for so long or something? I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know, but I don't know. I'd rather be honest with y'all than make something up. So that being said, that's weird. In your country of China, you have a Mongolian king and an Italian diplomat who works for the government. And he wasn't the only one. There were a lot of other people who worked in Kublai Khan's government. There were Koreans. Korea is right here. North and South Korea right here. There were some Japanese. Like there were all different groups of people who he actually put in charge of his government, but no Chinese people. Remember that? That's so weird to be so intolerant of a people, but adopt everything about their culture. Everything like silk. Oh, Kublai Khan loved his silk. Yeah, he did. Kublai Khan loved all the nice Chinese houses. Much better than living in that tent. Let me show you that tent since I'm online anyway. Yurts are so cool. They're called yurts. Yurt. It's just a fun name. Yurt. Oh, let me move my big old head. Here, let me put a Mongolian. Those are like American yurts. Oh, it'd be good if I'd spell it right. Here, I just saw it. Here's a great picture. It's a tent. They're pretty nice on the inside. Not that I'm dissing tents. It's just not my thing. But I mean, they're pretty cool on the inside. Yurt. So anyway, he ditches his yurt and he's like, dude, I need me a nice Chinese palace, right? He totally adopts everything, wrong thing, everything that is Chinese, but again, he hates the people. One of the things that what's his name, Kublai Khan also does is he improves the Silk Road trade like you wouldn't believe. Like Silk Road trade under the Mongolians is amazing. Marco Polo is from Venice. Sorry. He's an Italian from Venice. Okay. He's a merchant. How in the world does a foreign middle class merchant suddenly become an upper class diplomat in a bureaucratic government for China under a Mongolian king? It's so weird. But part of it is because Kublai Khan really does want to increase trade like nobody's business. And he's going to do that. I don't know if I have a map of Silk Road trade. Well, I have a map of Marco Polo. Okay, so that's okay. We can use this. So here, this is, I almost said England. What? This right here is China. Okay, the Yuan Empire. Do you see it? All right. This, oh, see, here's the Golden Horde up here, right? We have those two other Khanates down here. Okay, and look right here. The Delhi Sultanate. All this stuff is happening at the same time. Okay. Okay. If you come over here, this is where Marco Polo is from. Okay. So his journeys, he comes here. He's a merchant. He's following some of the Silk Roads. Boom. And it's in here that he starts working for Kublai Khan as a diplomat. Diplomats go to other countries, and I don't know, my cynical self just thinks of them as glorified messengers. But they go to other countries, they like speak for the ruler in those countries, that kind of thing. He works for Kublai Khan. He speaks for Kublai Khan. He's a merchant. That kind of shows you how important trade is during this time. And one of the things that is going to happen under Kublai Khan, this northern Silk Road, not the northern one that you see here. See, look, there's Kashgar. Not the northern one that you see here, because there's three big ones. You have the southern Silk Road that comes down south of the Himalaya. And then once again, you have the northern, which to us is really more like a middle one, but they called it the northern. And it goes north of the Himalaya. And then you have the far north Silk Roads that go here and it hits the Mongolian areas, comes up this way through modern day Russia, and then it comes down here to Kiev. It's a Russian city today, Kiev. Okay. The far north Silk Road, this one, before this time period, was the most dangerous. It was considered the most dangerous because of the weather, first of all. It's Russia. It's freaking cold. So, first of all, because of the weather. But you also had a whole bunch of uncivilized, they're civilized, but they're tribal civilized. They don't have permanent cities. They're tribal. They move around. They're warlike. So if you were trying to trade on these northern Silk Road, the far north, it was scary. Well, one thing about the Mongolians, they hate thieves. They're warlike as all get out. And they will slaughter you in battle. They don't think anything of it. They will just rip you to pieces. But thievery is not accepted in Mongolian culture at all. To be a robber on the Silk Road was seen as like the most dishonest thing a man could do. Tear their arms off, ripping them into pieces. But being a robber, a thief, not acceptable. So, what ends up happening is there's kind of this like shift where the Mongolian Empire is up here. During this time, the far northern Silk Road, the Russian Silk Road, ends up becoming the safest Silk Road that there is. It's still dangerous as far as weather and stuff, I know, but as far as robbers and thieves and all that, it becomes the safest that there is because the Mongolian rulers will not have thievery. They will rip your arms off and they'll be okay with it. And robbers aren't really interested in that because if you don't have arms, then you can't rob. Yeah? So actually, the far north Silk Road becomes very, very, very safe, and it actually allows more cities to start popping up. I mean, look, y'all, there's other cities, okay, but I mean, look, a lot of our big cities. I mean, these are big cities. These aren't little cities. A lot of our big cities are along the Silk Road. How many? How many do you see up here? Not many. You're going to start seeing more in future maps, okay? Because you're going to have more oasis towns popping up. Now, in this case, with it being like cold up here, it's not oasis towns like desert. In some cases, it's snow. You'll have like travel through the snow. Whew. I hit a town and I can have a hot meal and a fire and oh my gosh, I'm going to rest here for a while. And so those turn into like these really big trade towns, the biggest of which will eventually be Kiev, which is somewhere down here. Okay. It'll even be called the Kievan Empire. Not Russia. Not yet. It'll get there, but not yet. So anyway, that's kind of a cool thing that happens under Kublai Khan is the far north Silk Road, incredibly safe. Did I miss things? Because I just was going around. Okay. Oh, okay, Marco Polo. One of the things that Marco Polo did while he was on his travels, he was gone for like 20 years. And and y'all, he had a kid and was gone for like 20 years and then comes back. He's like, hi. And his son's like, hi, here's your grandkid. Whatever. So anyway, Marco Polo, while he's gone, I guess I should go back here. While he's gone, he's writing down what he sees. There's two guys especially who traveled far from one place to another and wrote down everything that they saw. Y'all, as a historian, we can look at bones and we can look at stuff that's left behind, but there is nothing more amazing than to find written stuff about a time period. Diaries. And not for the juice, for the what's going on in the world, for how people lived. Those things are like gold to a historian. Those things are better than gold to a historian. And Marco Polo, who's from Italy, writes about the things that he sees, especially writing about the Yuan dynasty, Kublai Khan. He has an entire thing where he like describes Kublai Khan and Kublai the Grand Kublai and his blah blah blah. I don't have it memorized, but I can find it. I'll probably read it to you in class actually. But it's this description and it gives us an amazing visual of this man based on this man's eyes. It's a first-hand account of what China was like under the Yuan dynasty, and Europe doesn't have a lot of these inventions that China has. They don't have gunpowder. Well, Marco Polo is describing gunpowder, and the Europeans are like, no way. And he's describing these beautiful, giant, grandiose cities, and the Europeans are like, wow. Like China to Europe was the edge of the earth, man. There was nothing else. And Marco Polo describes it all in this book. Now, in all honesty, most people at this time in Europe not really reading it yet, but I mean they will, especially in the Renaissance. That's coming. And it becomes this really cool thing that like tells everybody about China. And again, from a historian point of view, tells us about China, which is like way cool. So anyway, trade, yeah. There was something else. Oh, and the mixing of so many foreigners in his government, and allowing so many. China becomes like a melting pot at this time of all different cultures, Mongolian and of course Chinese, and then you have, Korean and Japanese and Tibetan and all this stuff, and Kublai Khan just loves it. Now, he's not the nicest of guys, okay? One thing I really harp in my pre-AP classes often, the best rulers are the most jerks as human beings. He's not the nicest guy, but he does a decent job governing. And I will say, after Kublai Khan's death, he starts to kind of lose control of China. It's going to take a little while, all right? It's not like it happens tomorrow, but it's going to take a little while. But he's going to start losing control. All right. Well, he's dead, but his heirs to the throne are going to start losing control, and eventually the Chinese are going to be like, and they're going to take over and kick the Mongolians back out. But it is a really cool time, again, especially for trade and especially how it relates to Europe. There's so much trade going on, man. So much. The Black Death, I'm going to talk about it more in the next unit, but I already showed you a map of the Black Death, like how it spread. The Black Death hits Europe, hits Venice in 1348. Look at our years. Look at our years. Do you see this? There's always a negative to every positive. Trade is amazing. Cultures mixing, it's amazing. And then we have the Black Death. Yes. Okay. So, I mean, there's always a downside to the massive trade back and forth, whatever. But what is this? But, oh, okay, just a test. But I mean, it is what it is, right? And then, oh, I forgot about this. I did forget about this. Kublai Khan, he wanted to take over more stuff, right? He wants to get more land. But see, there's a little bit of a problem in that. What's he going to do? Where's he going to take? Because these over here, these are Mongolian controlled lands. If we go back to the Khanate, here it is. The Khanate's here. He wants to take over more land, right? But he can't go this way. Like, those are his family members. And I mean, of course he could, and he could kill him and he could take over, right? He didn't go this way. Oh, okay. Oh, a friend of mine's getting married, as you all know now. Okay, hold on. Where was I? Here we go. Okay, he can't really go this way, so he decides to go this way. Well, what's this right here? It's actually up here. What is that? Look. Oh, it's not on here. Are you kidding me? Man, my pictures have been really great and in order. And then this unit, sheesh, man. I mean, this video is just all over the place. Okay, look. We'll just do it this way. This is showing you, by the way, that far north, Silk Road. See? There's the city of Kiev right here. There you go. Okay, do you see right here? Japan. He's like, okay, well, I could go south. I can't. Dense rainforest, I can't get into that rainforest. So he decides to take over Japan, which is right here. All right, it looks like a J with a dot on it. Japan, right here. Well, something happens when he does. There is a kamikaze that saves Japan. The word kami, it's their word for spirits. I had an entire college class that was Japanese history in college. And I wrote all these papers about their spirits, their religion, Shinto, and their kami. And I just like that word, kami, Kami. Okay, their spirits. And then kazi, wind. Kamikaze means divine wind. And there was this crazy wind and this crazy storm, and that's what you're seeing in this painting. This crazy wind and this crazy storm where you have the Japanese here, right? And they're fighting the Mongolians. And look, the Mongolians are like getting out of the water in their horses. You never saw a Mongolian without his horse, unless you were like in the Chinese palace. But you see all this tumultuous water and stuff, this crazy wind, this crazy storm just boom. That is what destroys Kublai Khan's chances of taking over Japan. And Kublai Khan's like, I'll go back later, whatever. He never does. Never. Well, eventually, the Ming Dynasty takes over. Remember, I told you this new Chinese dynasty is going to rise up and they're going to be like, dude, Mongolians out. So that's what happens. In the 1300s, the late 1300s, we have China take over China again. Oh, I can't make this map big. I don't understand why some I can and some I can't, you guys. Sorry. I can't make this map big. But the Yuan dynasty, Mongolia controlled China, was all of this all the way down. Okay. It was Korea as well. Well, whenever the Ming family gets enough oomph to take over, they do take over. You see, they don't really have control over everything. All right. What I do want you to notice about the Ming before we go, look how long this one family, the Ming family, ruled. That's not too shabby. And one of the first things that Mr. Emperor Ming does whenever he takes over is he starts building a wall to keep the Mongolians out. If you look back at this map here, if you look back at this map here, do you see this right here? Not the red line, this like railroad looking line. That's the Great Wall of China. Now, it's not really there at this time. It's about to be. But what exists at this time are those little tiny walls that I showed you, those earthen walls. Well, Mr. Ming, oh, I have a map of it. Good. Mr. Ming is going to make it like impassable to just go over. You have to go around. And the wall, as you notice, it's actually a whole bunch of like separate walls because he had like different groups of peasantry working on it. So they don't really meet up, but that's okay. It's all right. And I have several pictures to show you. So the Mongolians are going to get pushed north, and then they're going to start putting the wall in, okay? And then the Ming are going to own this. This is the Great Wall of China that you are used to seeing. This wasn't built until like the 1600s or whatever. The Great Walls before that were just those little earthen mounds, remember? Okay, this is like the Great Wall of China that you're used to. And if you look here, this thing's, look, you can see people on it right here. This thing snakes all the way across the top of these mountains. Look at this. Isn't that cool? It's not going in the valleys. I mean, it does, but it's like on top of the mountain, which is way cool. And these aren't little sissy mountains either. These are some big honkers. Look how beautiful this thing is. And again, like, look at all these people. You want to go up that? Ew. I want to go down it. Just roll up in a ball and just roll down. But I don't want to go up it. But isn't that beautiful? Look at that architecture. Cool, yeah? It just looks like a dragon. I just think this is way cool. That's what happens at the sea. When it gets to the ocean, it's like, done. I just think it's a cool picture. Okay, dude, we're almost done. I'm sorry if this video is going a little bit long, but we are almost like done. So we have this guy. He's a Ming Dynasty emperor named Emperor Yongglo. So you can see it. Where is it? Here it is. I just saw it. Right here. Yongglo. Sometimes you will see his name rewritten with an E here. It's still the same guy. Yongglo, Yongli, same guy. That being said, oops. That being said, Emperor Yongglo decides, I want to know what's out there. Who will explore the oceans for me? Well, we have this guy. Okay, every year kids think I'm lying to them. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Every year kids think I'm lying. I'm not lying about the pronunciation of his name.
Zhengha. Zhengha.
Kids look at it and they're like,
Zhengha.
he. Zhengha.
Zhengha.
Or you'll hear people say Zhengho.
Zhengha.
And again, students think I'm lying. I'm not lying. Zhengha or Zhengho. Okay, this is him. He's going to become an explorer. Okay, he did other things before that. Don't worry about that. But he's going to become basically an explorer. And he's going to go on 7 separate expeditions. And check out the dates. The dates matter. Do you see the dates? Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. 7 separate expeditions before the Europeans even knew what a compass was. Chang Ho is pretty cool. And look at his ship. This is Chang Ho's ship, okay? So cool. It's called a junk ship. I didn't name it, don't look at me. Junk ship. Look how big this sucker is. This is a European, Portuguese? Yeah, Portuguese caravel ship. This is going to be the ship that the Europeans are so proud of. This is what China's working with. I'm telling you, China is ahead technologically, and there is no better example than this. We talked about the difference in the square rectangle sails and these angled sails, the caravel or lateen sails, okay? The cool thing about junk ships, these can be pulled down to like accordion down. Like you can pull on one side. That is this. Okay? And you can pull on one side to cause that to do this. Isn't that cool? Not only that, it's like you have an entire city at your disposal here. That is the biggest ship I've ever seen. It's crazy. Here's where it goes. Oh, here's a smaller junk today. See, you can see right here. That's why I had this picture. You can see they're pulled on this side to form an angle. Do you see that? So you don't have to have separate sails. You can just pull on one side. Okay, now let's see where he went. You know, you're going to see this map again, possibly. Maybe on a test. I'm terrible at winking. Okay, so Here we go. So Mr. Zhang Ho leaves, yeah, and he goes all through here. He explores the coast here, all right? He explores the East Indies here. That's what this is called. These islands here are typically called the East Indies because, are you ready? They are east of India. Cool, man. So anyway, he explores and maps the East Indies. He even, you see, he's up here. Okay. Let's see. He comes down. Gotta make my big old head bigger so you can see it. He comes down here into the Indian Ocean and does some mapping. And that is just brave. You don't go out into the open ocean. It's crazy. It's pretty impressive. But he maps all of this. And this isn't one expedition. This is 7 separate expeditions. Okay. So like he'll go this far and then he'll go home. And then he'll go this far and then he'll go home. Are you with me? And then he'll go this far and then he'll go home. All right. But he's able to get all the way down the coast of East Africa. And again, this is before the Europeans even have a clue. No idea about the Indian Ocean at all. They're trading on the Silk Road and they're trading through here right along the coast. They don't know. They certainly don't know. So it's really cool that he does this, and he does it before the whole like European exploration thing starts, which is just way cool. But okay, why isn't it going bigger? There we go. I need to go backwards. Okay, after several of his expeditions, Emperor Yongle is like, okay, so tell me about the foreigners that you saw. Tell me about these Europeans. Ugh, says Zhang Ho. Gross. They're dirty. They have hair all over their faces. Ew. They eat, can you believe this? They eat with their hands. They don't use any chopsticks or silverware or whatever. Their people wear animal hides. And their cities are disgusting. There's rats everywhere. They're dealing with like a bunch of dead bodies that are everywhere. These people are disgusting. Okay, look at the dates again. When he reports, look at the dates, okay? The Black Death started in 1348, and Europe was totally not equipped to deal with it. Now, again, in the next unit, I'm going to deal with that, okay? When I talk about Europe, I'm going to deal with the Black Death specifically and show you all kinds of good pictures. But they're not equipped to deal with it at all. They don't know what's causing it. They don't know, hey, if I clean up my city, the rats will go away. Whoa, they don't know that. And so he is seeing Europe shortly after the Black Death has just ravaged Europe. And he's like, these people are disgusting. So he goes back to Emperor Yongle. And Emperor Yongle is like, yeah, we need to stay way away from those people. Gross. So they go into what's called self-sufficient. Yeah, I put it on here. Self-sufficient isolation. It's one of your vocab words. When you are isolated, you're by yourself. When you're self-sufficient, you don't need help. Guys, China doesn't need Europe. They don't need food from them. They don't need technology from them. They don't need Europe. So they say, okay, look, we don't want those nasty Europeans to taint our Chinese people. Trade is still allowed, but it's only through like the government, and it's very regulated, and Europeans can't stay in China, which is kind of sad because Marco Polo's book is out, and like people who can read are reading it, and people want to see China, and they're like, ugh, okay. Trade is still occurring, but it's very regimented, which unfortunately, there's always a negative, is going to lead to some like like black market selling rings. But that's just the nature of the beast. Okay, we're so almost done, but I know this video has gone long and I apologize. Bye.